Hi everyone, it's James here. Welcome to another video. So this video is going to be a long overdue request video that Richard McCook asked me to do, looking at some of the Squeeze B-sides. So Squeeze had a big long history as a singles band. Their first single came out in 1978 and they went on releasing singles all the way through their career. 40 years or more, you know. I'm not going to look at every one, I'm just going to look at the ones that I have on vinyl, and I have some gaps in my collection, so this is by no means a comprehensive video at all. But I'll show the singles, I'll talk quickly about the B-sides, and then as we go, I'm going to make a pile of my 10 favourite Squeeze B-sides, so by the time we get to the end I should be able to race through what my favourites are. So starting in 1978, the song Take Me I'm Yours was the first single by Squeeze, released on A&M. I think it was a number 17 hit. And the B-side is Night Nurse, which is quite similar to most of the early Squeeze B-sides, just a kind of quite light little rock pop song. Nothing special, nothing wrong with it. It's okay, it won't be going on the favourites pile though. The next single was Bang Bang, also taken from the first album. It was a complete flop. And the B-side of this was called All Fed Up, which is another Difford & Tilbrook song. And again, nothing wrong with it, just a kind of quick fire, straight out of the gate, kind of punky, new wave type song. You know, when Squeeze first started, it was 1978, and they sort of punked up their sound a bit, really, you know, in order to fit in with the times. But they were not a punk band, really. Third single, I'm going to close this door because there's too much traffic noise going on. Third single was Goodbye Girl from the Kill for Cats album. And again, the B-side of this one is Saints Alive, and again, that's just another kind of fun, upbeat rocker. Nothing special, but nothing wrong with it. Then the single Kill for Cats, which was a number 2 hit in 1979, and this is going to be the first one that's going to go in the pile for me. The B-side of Kill for Cats was a song called Model, which had been on the original first album produced by John Cale, but this version, it's a kind of grungier, punkier version, and I've always just really liked it. It's got a really cool lyric to it, and just a great riff and a great performance from the guys. So that's going in the pile. Up the Junction was the next single, and that also got to number 2 in the charts. Now the B-side of this one was an album track. It was It's So Dirty from the Cool for Cats album, so I'm not going to include that in the pile because I mean, Squeeze did do a good job. Lots and lots of their singles had B-sides which were you know, not on the albums. They were a bit like the Beatles in that sense, but occasionally they would have a B-side that was, you know, from an album. So anyway, it's quite a good song. It's a little bit misogynistic, It's So Dirty. It's got a bit of a dodgy lyric to it, but anyway. So, next one, Another Nail in My Heart, which was a top 20 single, I think, in 1980. Came from the Argy Bargy album, and this one, the B-side of this one, is called Pretty Thing, and it was a Difford and Holland song. So Jules Holland and Chris Difford occasionally would write songs together. You'd normally get one per album while Jules was in the band, and then occasionally their songs would end up on B-sides as well. That's going to go in the pile of favourites. It's just a great little rocking song, you know, boogie woogie piano on it. It's sort of pub rock really, but you know, it's good fun. Slap and Tickle, also from the Cool for Cats album, and the B-side of this one is just called All's Well, and it's okay, nothing special, just a little pop rock B-side. It's not going to go in the pile. Christmas Day, their flop single from 1979, their flop Christmas single from 1979. Now the B-side of this is going to go on the pile. The B-side is called Going Crazy, and it's really good. It's got a kind of disco beat. It's Squeeze attempting to do disco but putting their own spin on it. It's got a good hook, it's got a good lyric. I've always liked it. So Going Crazy is in the pile. Also from the Argy Bargy album, we've got Pulling Muscles from the Shell, which was a flop single actually, didn't do very well at all. It was a big radio hit, particularly in the States, but it wasn't you know, a big single for them really. And the B-side of this one is called What the Butler Saw, and it was a song which had not got onto the Argy Bargy album because their manager thought it sounded too much like a Barry Manilow song. Which I'm not convinced it does, but I can sort of hear why it didn't go on the record. It's got a string section and the lyric is, it's kind of meant to be a kind of whodunit. You know, it's called What the Butler Saw, so it tells a little story about nefarious goings on in a country home, and you know, someone ends up with a knife in their back, and the song is about what the butler saw. It's a clever song, but I quite like it, but it's not going to go on the pile. Right, moving on to Is That Love now. So we're on to the East Side Story album now, and this was a minor hit. The B-side of this one is great. It was their attempt to do Adam and the Ants. It was a song called Trust, which has got African drumming in it, and you know, it's just them trying to do Adam and the Ants, really. Good song, good fun. That one's going in the pile. Also from the East Side Story album, we've got the great song Tempted, sung by Paul Carrack. And the B-side of this one is a Difford and Tilbrook song called Yap Yap Yap, which was just a good upbeat rock and roll number with some fine keyboard playing by Paul Carrack. Not sure if that one's going to go in. I'm going to put that one in the middle because that might end up going in the pile, but I'm not sure yet. Label with Love, number 4 hit single from 1981, again from East Side Story. And the B-side of this one is Squabs on 40 Fab, and it was one of those things, one of those B-sides you used to get in the 80s where you'd have like a little medley of the band's hits with a disco beat shoved underneath. I know Richard's quite fond of them, I think. I'm not a big fan of them. It's not going to go on the pile. It's quite good fun, you know, but it's not a big favourite for me, really. Okay, so now we move on to the Sweets from a Stranger album, 1982. Black Coffee in Bed, which was another low-scoring single, but obviously it was a big radio hit in America. The B-side of this one is called The Hunt, and it's a very slow, moody track, as lots of the Squeeze songs were from this period. It was a period when Chris Difford was starting to sink into alcoholism and drug dependency, and you know, lyrically, the band got quite dark at this point. And The Hunt is a very moody piece. It's really good, actually. It should probably have been on the album. The Hunt, not sure, that one may go in the middle for now. Got a picture disc next. This is the picture disc for the great song When the Hangover Strikes, which was a flop single in 1982, but one of the band's finest ever moments. Absolutely stunning song with a Nelson Riddle style string arrangement. It's a sort of Frank Sinatra type song. But the B-side of this I've always loved. It's called Elephant Girl, and it was one of several songs that Chris Difford wrote. It was meant to be a sort of little concept album which never got released, about a white skinhead who was dating an Asian girl from South London, and it was meant to be a kind of modern day retelling of the Romeo and Juliet story with these two young people who were not really meant to be together and all the pressures they faced. Great song, lovely tune, very, you know, really nice lyric, and I've just always loved it. That's going in the pile. And You Get Your Gun, the last single before the band broke up in 1982. This is going to go in the pile. Great, great B-side. Spanish Guitar, which is a very moody song, sung by Chris Difford to the accompaniment of a Spanish guitar. Chris Difford used to take 2 or 3 lead vocals per album, but then he started to back away from doing that. He had insecurities, and by the time we got to Sweets from a Stranger, there's only one song on that record sung by him. This would have been the other one had it got on the album, but it didn't. It's got a great lead vocal by him. Always loved it. Great song. Okay, so now we hit the band's hiatus period. They broke up in 82, spent 3 years apart, came back in 85 with the Cozy Fan Tutti Frutti album, and this was one of the singles from it, Last Time Forever. The B-side of this one is called Sweets from 5 Strangers, and it's basically 5 different song excerpts done by each member of the band, so they each get a chance to, you know, go into the spotlight. Not really a big favourite of mine, really. It's sort of Squeeze do Pink Floyd's Gumma, you know. It's it's wacky, it's good fun, but it's not a great B-side. Also from the same album, from the Cozy Fan Tutti Frutti album, we've got No Place Like Home, which was a great song. And the B-side of this one is pretty good. It's called The Fortnight Saga, and it's fairly typical of the Squeeze music of the period. It's very overproduced. It's got a lot of 80s whiz-bang stuff going on in it. It's a good song. It's a quality song. It's not a particular favourite of mine, but I do like it. I might put it in the middle, just in case. Heartbreaking World, the single that was released from the same album again, from the Cozy Fan Tutti Frutti album. So the A-side was another Chris Difford and Jools Holland song, and the B-side is not going to get in because it was an album track. It was Big Bang from the album, so that gets disqualified. King George Street, also from the Così fan tutti frutti album, and this one also gets disqualified because the B-side is a live version of an old song called Love's Crashing Waves, which came from the Difford and Tilbrook solo album back in '84. Okay, so now we move to 1987, I think, the Babylon and On album, and the big hit single Hourglass, which was a hit in the UK and in the States as well. B-side of this one is Wedding Bells, which is an okay song. You know, it's alright. It's not really a favourite. It's quite jangly. Trust Me to Open My Mouth, also from the Babylon and On album, and this just has a live version of Take Me I'm Yours on the B-side, so that gets disqualified. The Waiting Game, also from Babylon and On, and the B-side of this, it's called Being the Prisoner, cousin of Buff Mix. It's a remix of a track called The Prisoner, which was on the Babylon and On album. It's okay, nothing special. 8535937, which was a rather bland and uninspired hit single from '87 from the Babylon and On album. Difford and Tilbrook hated it themselves. The B-side of this one is a live version of Take Me I'm Yours, so that gets disqualified. Moving on to the Frank album, the next album from 1989, the first single, If It's Love, great song. B-side is called Frank's Bag, which is just a little instrumental number, nothing special. Love Circles, also from the Frank album, and really, really great song, sung by Chris Difford. The B-side is called Red Light, which is a fun song. It's okay, it's not going to go on the list. Sunday Street from the Play album, 1991. So this was the band's low point commercially, really. They were just being dropped by record labels left, right and centre. Their music was becoming darker, more kind of adult contemporary. The lyrics were getting darker, and you know, Squeeze were definitely not the band they'd been. But the B-side of this one is fantastic. It's called Maidstone. Now Maidstone, or Maidstone, is a town in Kent, and it's just a great song. It's got a kind of, I think it's got a mandolin part in it. It's really catchy, it's really upbeat, fairly atypical of the kind of songs they were doing at the time, but it's always been a big favourite. When Glenn Tilbrook does his solo gigs, people always call out for it, because it's a song that works really well on acoustic guitar. So Maidstone definitely goes in the pile. And then finally we've got the song Satisfied, also from the Play album, and the B-side of this one is called Happiness is King, which is a kind of solid B-side. It's okay, I quite like it, but that will probably go in the middle. So that's me done. So let's see how many songs I've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, I've only got 6 favourites, so I need to choose some more from my little pile. Okay, so I've got my favourite 10, not in any particular order. They are The Model from Cool for Cats. I put What the Butler Saw in from Pulling Muscles, because it is a good song. The Hunt from Black Coffee in Bed. Yap Yap Yap, B-side of Tempted. Pretty Thing, B-side of Another Nail in My Heart. Going Crazy, B-side of Christmas Day. Trust, B-side of Is That Love. The Elephant Girl, B-side of When the Hangover Strikes. Spanish Guitar, B-side of And You Get Your Gun. And my favourite Squeeze B-side of all time, Maidstone, B-side of Sunday Street. There you go, Richard. Did it. Thanks, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.